Hi, so my name is Joy Samuel and I am a St. Mary's University third year student. So the first question you asked is, do I like parks? And the answer to that is an obvious yes. I thoroughly enjoy parks. I love going on hikes, I love walking in the forest, I love going on nature trails. Just being out in nature is a very strong passion of mine. So I think that covers the question of what do I like about visiting parks the most. I just like the atmosphere. I love the idea of being surrounded by trees and being able to identify all the different species that I'm seeing, whether it's plant species or animal species, seeing birds and squirrels, and even like going out and seeing the amazing scenery, like whether there's be lakes or any other kind of wildlife. It's like a mental thing that you feel so much better and so much at peace when you're surrounded by nature and surrounded by trees. So is there a park near me? Yes, I live on campus at St. Mary's, so I live pretty close to the Point Pleasant Park, which is amazing, especially during the summer. Like, it's a 5-minute walk down the road and you get to be submerged in all of that nature just right outside the city limits. So while I'm there, I walk around, I explore, I watch everybody with their dogs going around their daily lives, like just enjoying the scene. And I love going alongside the water and watching as the boats pass or as the tide comes in and watching the sunset. It's such an amazing experience, especially for me being from the Caribbean, where it's like surrounded by nature. So I love the forest look, the forest atmosphere. At parks, is there anything that I can't do? Well, I'm not totally sure. I mean, you can pretty much, like, if you go to a park, there's like lakes, there's swimming you can do, you can go hiking, which is like a very big thing for me. So there's not much that you can't do there. I mean, you can't pollute the area, you can't, well, maybe some parks need probably a bit more development. So in that sense, if you make more of trails for people so you could ride your bikes there, but I find like that's something that we strive for here. Like, you have parks so you could ride your bike or you could bring your dogs there and relax and just not be in trouble about you destroying the environment while you do that. So yeah, I mean, I know that's like something they've been trying for, like the Birch Cove Lakes, to try and make it more accessible to the public, so while people strive to go there and be a part of the amazingness that it is, that they don't destroy it while they're there. So that's like something that I feel strongly about and something that could be improved upon, but at the same time it's nice to have that natural environment as well, something that you know is there, even if you don't go in, even if you can't be a part of it all the time, but just knowing that the animals that inhabit it enjoy it or not. So yeah. So the next part would be, should people spend time outside? Why or why not? Definitely people should spend time outside. It's important to get out and not just stay stuck in your room all the time. When you're inside all the time, for one, you're not getting the vitamin D that you need from the sun. You feel, I don't know, you feel more, it's a feeling. It's like, it's all about your emotions as well. When you go outside, you feel better, you get to breathe in some fresh air, it helps you feel healthier, plus you become more active by going out. By just like walking outside, you're a lot more active rather than staying inside. There's a big difference between like staying inside and running in a treadmill in a gym rather than going outside and running right out in the fresh air. You feel the impact is so much more meaningful. So definitely people should spend time outside. I mean, you see it in young people and like children, like growing up. Like, there's a big difference between children that stay in the classroom outside, or children that stay like playing games on their computers all day, and those children that go outside and run around and play with their friends. There's a big difference. Like, they benefit so much more, and growing up it has such a bigger impact on their life. So, but a big thing that keeps people from going outside, I mean, would be things like technology and distractions and work. People are always busy and they don't have time to go outside and enjoy the day. They don't see summer goes and they've been working all the time so they don't see it. So that keeps people from going outside. And also, I don't know, maybe even the fear of the outdoors. Some people just can't interact with it. They feel more comfortable being inside and they don't know what to do when they go outside. They don't always know what's available. But like knowing what's available and knowing that it should be available and should be there for the future is important. So is it important to protect some of the areas of the world? Well, definitely. Like, you don't want to live on a planet that has no trees. You don't want to live in a place that you can't go out and find something that's natural. You can't. I mean, if you were to walk outside now and just know that everything was man-made, that wouldn't be to your benefit. It would be sad, actually. So it's definitely important to protect these areas, because if we don't protect them, I mean, there'll just be development all the time, and all the forests would be disappearing, and we can't have that. We need the habitats. Our animals need the habitats. Future generations need these habitats as well. So definitely, it's important to protect these areas. So what would inspire me, or what would you say to inspire others to protect areas like parks? Well, I think for sure it would be about, if you go, just picture going outside right now, and so if you had a lake in your backyard, if you had even a whole forest in your backyard, just picture going outside and this whole place being cut down, and all that would be there would be construction, a new mall, a new parking lot, and all the lakes will be filled in or just polluted, and you won't be able to reap the benefits. You won't have the fresh air that you would be accustomed to anymore. You won't have the fresh water. You won't be able to swim there anymore or anything. That's what will happen if you don't protect the areas, the natural areas that are important to us. So it's necessary. It's part of life. I mean, you can't really stop development, but you can protect the areas that are still there. Development is important, but protecting the natural areas are also important. So we need to step up and protect these areas. It is very important. And it's not just important to protect the forest, it's also important to protect the oceans as well. Because the oceans, I mean, while the forest, you can walk outside and see all the animals that inhabit it, all the species that are there. The oceans, it's like you have to go under the water to see all that, but it's like so vast. It's just like having a forest. It's just underneath the sea that you can't really see it. All the species of fish, all the species of coral, plants, the plants that are down there, the animals that are down there, all the minerals and everything. All these things, they're so important and they make such a big difference to our lives. They're important for our fisheries, they're important for our recreation, just all their intrinsic purposes. They're so important to us even. So yes, it's important to protect these oceans, and we must understand that these oceans play a vital role in our lives. I mean, the planet itself is 70% ocean. We only occupy the 30% of the land. So I mean, if we don't protect these 70%, that's how pretty much our whole planet that's gone. So it is important to protect this ocean, our oceans. But apart from protecting areas of the ocean, what could I do to make sure I help the oceans, or to make sure the oceans stay healthy? Well, I think education, for one, it's very important. Like, people aren't always aware of the impacts that they could have, from things like improper disposal of sewage. People don't understand the impact that could make, even in recreation, like riding our speedboats over certain places, then the destruction that could have on coral or the species, or even like fishing, the methods we use for fishing, these things, like, people won't know unless you educate them. So that's definitely one of the first steps you need to take in trying to protect the oceans. And then afterwards, you have to let people know the areas that are of high priority in terms of protecting, the areas that are full of diversity, like coral reefs, for example. Like, they play such a major role, and other places like mangrove areas where like that fishes use as a nesting grounds or as breeding grounds, like they're so important. And so it's like it all comes back to knowledge and how much people know. So if you get the education out there, then I believe people will understand. And then you need to make people aware of how they could protect the oceans. It's not just about having the knowledge. It's like, how can you use it? Like, what do you have to do? Like, what must I stop doing? Like, when I go out to the ocean, when I go out on my boat, when I go out swimming, what am I doing that could be harming the species that live there? Should I take this piece of coral reef that I found on the ground when I go to the beach, or should I leave it so that it could go back to the ocean and form habitat for some other species? Like, is that important? Like, all these things people need to know, and they need to know what they're not doing. And then they need to know, like, if it's beyond their level of, like, their regular impact, they need to know that they can go to their government or to go to their parliamentary representatives and ask for certain things to get done, and then pressure them to get them done, so that the oceans could be protected, so that our forests could be protected, so that everything that we value, everything natural that we value could be protected, and that we'll have it for future generations. So not just for myself, but for my kids and my grandkids later on, much further down the road. So I definitely think it's important to protect our oceans, and as an avid park goer, as someone who really appreciates nature, I strongly impose that others should get outside, go and enjoy the outdoors. Like, even if it's just for 5 minutes, you'll understand the big difference it makes in your life, and from that you'll understand the reason why it's important to protect it. Thank you.